All right, hello everyone. Welcome to the May 30th Women in Product Toastmasters meeting. I am your Sergeant at Arms, Amy Kirkland, and I'm delighted to have you all here today on this Memorial Day weekend. So today our theme is products that move you. And for our guests joining for the first time, you're muted on entry, but can toggle your mic when you are ready to speak. And we encourage you to keep your cameras on. Finally, this meeting is being recorded as it is our policy that by participating in our meeting, you agree that a recording will be made publicly available on our YouTube channel and our website. At this time, I'd like to introduce you to our president, Erica Tamburo.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for getting us started off today, Amy. I welcome you all to the Women in Product Toastmasters Club meeting, our second one of the month of May, wrapping up May. And I do want to celebrate one more time that our club was awarded the April Vibrant Club of the Month. So if you are unaware, time to celebrate, everybody. Thank you so much. Let's see. So we have a number of guests joining us today that I'm super excited to say hello to and invite you to share with us a goal that you have that as a Toastmaster you're hoping to achieve. And I will just go through the list and call on you by name. Let's see, Shelley. Shelley, would you mind saying hello to everybody and share with us a goal of yours?
Hi, sorry, you caught me in mid-bite. Having lunch. I'm Shelley. I'm in New York City, so it's 1 p.m. for me, lunchtime. I joined Toastmasters as my goal. One, as you can probably hear me say a lot, is to just get better at presenting and speaking, and specifically like some of the feedback that I've gotten is to be a little bit more focused when I'm presenting, both from like verbal and visual communication skills. So that's kind of the main thing that brought me here today as well.
Thank you for joining us today, Shelley.
Thank you.
Let's go to Selena. Selena, would you like to say hello and share a goal that you have?
My name is Sanella. I think you might have been pointing to me. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, so I'm Sanella. I'm calling in from Vermont. My goal is to feel more confident speaking during meetings and leading meetings and feeling like I'm being coherent. Thanks.
Thank you, Sanella, and apologies for my mispronunciation. Let's see, who else do we have joining us today? Sheena. Sheena, would you like to say hi?
Sure. Hi, I'm Sheena. I'm joining you from Baltimore, Maryland today. And I would say my goals are really to work on presentation skills and to also work on impromptu speaking during meetings. So happy to be here.
Thank you for joining us today. Let's see, Marguerite, would you like to say hello and a goal that you have?
Hello. Oh, there's my video. Hi, everyone. Marguerite in Northern New Jersey. And I'm here similar to others to improve my impromptu speaking skills and also getting to the point quicker.
Thank you so much for sharing that and joining us today. Who else do we have here? We have Kuyen. I hope I said that right.
Hi, it's Quinn. I'm from California, and I think my goal is to just be able to deliver my points across in a clear and concise way. Would love to kind of take that to be able to do conferences and speaking at various places. So thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us today. I believe we have, let's see, Monica. Monica, would you like to introduce yourself?
It's a poor angle. Hi, I'm Monica. I'm from Brooklyn. Well, I'm supposed to be based in Brooklyn. I'm currently in Virginia. My goals are to basically help explain complex concepts a little bit easier. I work in financial services with a variety of partners who oftentimes want to know about the concepts but aren't well versed in them themselves. And I also used to be a UX designer, so oftentimes my product counterparts are asking about UX and the value of UX, and so hopefully I get better at conveying those complex ideas.
Thank you so much, Monica. Am I missing any other guests? Ashley.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ashley. I'm interested in Toastmasters because, as like a lot of us said, like I think my presentation skills and being able to speak concisely is something that I want to work on. And I'm based in Northern Virginia. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Let's see. So Monique, I see that you have guests, but I'm going to introduce you as a new member because
I know I haven't paid yet. I haven't filled it out, but yes, I will be a new member soon. After this, I will fill it out.
We're excited to have you joining us officially and learning more about you and helping you along your path.
Yes, definitely. So I'll say hi real quick. I'm in Dallas, Texas, and I am joining Toastmasters because I have to present a lot and I want to get better at it and feel more comfortable in doing it.
Happy to have you, Monique. And we have new member Rajeshi. My tongue today is not.
No, you're fine. I'm Rajoshi. I go by Raj, so if I have seen that helps a lot. So I'm joining here from Dallas, Texas. I am with Signet Jewelers, who is the umbrella for all these Zales, Kay, Jared, all these diamond stores in the mall. And the reason I'm joining Toastmasters is because I think that I have to do a lot of leadership presentations, and I'm pretty okay with presenting in my own teams and groups, but then my product is cutting across domains, and under the hood there are technical product elements to it. There are functional, there are customer facing. So I just want to understand from different participants here and all these awesome ladies on how to present all these different artifacts of products, which is in a meeting which is like around 40 plus audience, and having different types of understanding of these different products. So I have business stakeholders, I have leaders who are just interested about stuff, just about the metrics and things like that. So just to understand what are those dynamics that will help me to present more effectively and reach my audience in the right sense.
You're in the right place.
Thank you.
So welcome all our new members and guests. We're excited to have you here today. We will basically, you'll get the club experience today. You'll see what it's like to present speeches and get evaluated. How to give and receive evaluations is a really important part of how we're in service to each other. You'll see some of the functionary roles of the club during the meeting. So you'll be introduced to odd counters and table topics and all kinds of fun stuff. And we invite you to join us for table topics later, which is our impromptu part. And Svetlana will describe more to you about what that is. And at the end of the meeting, we'll say hi again and give you a chance to give us some feedback. And we'll also have some Q&A after the meeting so we can answer your questions. So welcome, a big welcome to you all. Hope you enjoy today's meeting. I'm going to hand it off to the Toastmaster of the day, Lori Edwards. Lori, where are you? There you are.
Hi.
Lori is one of the founders of the club, our VP of PR. She's a fantastic leader and fantastic women in product presenter. You did a great job this last week. So thank you.
Thanks, Erica. Welcome, everyone. I'm glad to see so many guests joining us. If you did attend the Women in Product Conference, if you're like me, I'm still like jazzed up about it and like want to do all the things. If you did not get to attend the conference, their recordings are actually posted on their YouTube channel. So you can find some of those. Liz Barnum actually did a presentation. She won our club contest. So she presented in that Women in Product Conference, and you can watch her presentation on the Women in Product YouTube channel. Even if you are a club member, she did spice it up a bit for the actual conference. So even though I'd heard it like 3 times, I watched it again. I was like, wow, this was so great. So I highly recommend her section. I can also share that with everybody at the end of the club meeting too, but I highly recommend looking at it. Today, you're going to hear about products that move you. We have multiple speakers, and we actually have a special guest that'll be joining us to talk about pathways. But before we do that, I want to know by a show of hands, how many of you tried to use a new product during COVID? Wow, it looks like almost all of us tried something new. That is really cool, actually. So out of all of us that tried something new, how many of us still use that product today? Yeah, a couple. You want to throw the names of those products in the chat? We're going to get interactive today, so I hope you're ready for this. Mine was a product called Meal Lime. If you've never heard about it, it might change your life. Ooh, Peloton, great one. Circle Light, Clubhouse. Ooh, many of them. Thread Up, yes. Oh, Zoom. How could we forget about Zoom? It's like ingrained in us now. Great. All right, well, one of the key reasons that you might still use that product today is because it moved you. And it did this by creating some sort of an emotional connection with you. And so you're probably wondering, how do these brands do this? How do product managers do this? I want to do this. I want people to crave my product. Well, they're able to do this because they're able to create that stickiness and create that emotional connection. And typically brands do this by doing, pretty extensive user research and creating really well-defined user personas. So you might have used a product that didn't resonate with you. And a lot of the times that's because maybe you weren't their key user. You're not their user persona that they're going after. But when you do use a product that really does resonate, you're probably like their main target focus. Some examples of that would be like products that are geared towards moms versus people who aren't moms. I'm not a mom, so when I try to use some of these products, like I totally don't get them and I'm really confused, but my friends that do have kids are like, oh yeah, this is great. It's because they're able to create that deep understanding with the actual user themselves and really connect with them on that personal level. Another way that they might do this is through user journey. So understanding what is that person doing from beginning to end and how does their product actually fit within that journey. So by taking that time to really deeply understand those consumer needs, they're able to create that connection and drive you in to actually move you and want you to want their product. So today, as I mentioned before, we're going to hear from 2 club speakers about products that move them. And our special guest will actually be talking today about one of the Toastmaster product lines called Pathways. Pathways is a huge part of our club as well as any other Toastmasters club. So all of you guests that are joining us today, you kind of get a special treat and you get the inside look at this first thing. So you will find the agenda at the top of the chat. I'll post it again because I did kind of blow up the chat. There you all go. So if you open the agenda, you will see a list of all the meeting roles at the very bottom of that agenda. So if you're confused about what anybody's doing, you can always look at that and read about, what is a grammarian, what is an evaluator, all that fun stuff. But of course, before we jump into the speeches, we're going to go ahead and define each of those roles for you. So to start off, I'm going to introduce our first general evaluator today, which is Jennifer Ginsberg. And I'm going to let her introduce kind of her functionary roles that she'll be reporting on today and having them report back to us. Jen, you want to tell us about what the general evaluator does?
Yeah, hi everyone. Good morning, good afternoon. My name is Jennifer Ginsberg and I'm going to be the general evaluator for today. And essentially what that means is as this functionary essentially looks at across the entire meeting and helps to provide feedback to all of the participants in our functionary roles as to how we did as a leadership team in facilitating this particular meeting. So this is something, it's a role that just takes a step back and takes a look at all of the evaluation for the entire meeting itself. Lori, did you want me to talk about the 2 evaluator roles as well?
Sure, or you can let Rosie do that, since today we have a special kind of different club where you get to do both. So up to you.
I'll go ahead and take it since I've got the mic. So for every Toastmasters is very much a working type meeting and learning by doing. Our evaluators for each prepared speech, we have 2 evaluators, 1 per speaker. And essentially what those evaluators are doing is think of them as your feedback guide as to how your speech went. So for me, I'll be evaluating today Amy Kirkland, who's our first prepared speaker, and then Rosie will be evaluating our second speaker, Erica Tamburo. And essentially, if you think about it, like we're all craving that feedback on our own speaking styles and how our speeches go. So that's their primary function.
Awesome. And let's see, I'm going to skip the grammarian today because today we're going to do it a little bit differently. So I'll come back to that after we introduce the other roles. But next up, we also have a timer. And oh shoot, I didn't open the agenda. Our timer today is, let's see if I can do this with Zoom. It is I'm going to butcher this, Carlene. Carlene. Darn it, I remember that now that you said that. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
No problem. Thank you and hello everyone. Starting and finishing the meeting on time is one of the crucial tasks of a meeting. So my job today is going to be keeping track of the time taken by each participant and give feedback using timing cards when they reach their limits. And so the green time card indicates that minimum time is met and the speaker should start, the green time card indicates that minimum time is met and the speaker should start wrapping up when the yellow card is shown, and the red card will be shown when the speaker reaches the time limit. And as a timer, I will time the table topic speakers, the formal speeches, and the evaluations. And at the end of the meeting, I will also provide a quick recap of the times. Thank you.
Thank you. And next up is our awe counter. We have Anisha as our odd counter. You want to tell us what you're going to be doing today?
Absolutely. My purpose today is to note sounds and words that are used as a crutch or pause filler by anyone who speaks. So during the meeting, I've already been listening in and I'll continue to listen in through all the speeches and try and find overused words, including and, well, but, so, and you know. I will also listen for filler words like or. I'll also look out for any repetitions that's there. At the end of the meeting, I'll be giving you a count of how many times you have said so at any position, whether speaker or announcer or any of the specific roles.
Great, thank you. So that wraps up our functionary roles for the actual speeches. We do have a couple of other roles. So the next one I'm going to introduce Svetlana. She's going to talk a little bit about table topics, but we'll do more of that later in the meeting. So do you want to give us a quick overview of what your role will be today?
Sure. So the goal of the table topic session is to challenge us to improve our impromptu speaking skills. So I will be asking questions. There will be 6 questions that I'll ask. I will be asking those questions directed at an individual. The individual will include all the members as well as guests. But if you are a guest joining for the first time and you do not wish to speak, simply direct message me and just let me know that you want to sit this one out. Otherwise, I might be calling on you. So I'll just be asking a question, pausing, naming somebody, and then if you need the question repeated, feel free to ask. And you'll be given 2 minutes to respond. And at 1 minute, that will be the minimum time. 2 minutes will be the maximum time. You'll be timed, you'll see the cards. It's gonna be fun and I'm looking forward to it.
Great, thanks, Svetlana. So today I mentioned we do not have a grammarian. Due to the holiday weekend, we're kind of running a little short staffed, but that's all right. We're product managers. We just pick up those things as they hit the floor. I think we've all pretty much done that. So that's what we're doing today. So for the grammarian, typically this role will have what is called a word of the day. They pick any word that usually resonates with what our theme is, and they will give you the definition of that word. And then whoever uses that word gets kind of like a gold star, if you will. This role also listens during the speeches and table topic sections to kind of hear either good language, language that could be adjusted to help that speaker improve, or any key things that really stands out and resonates with you. So since we don't have a grammarian today, what I want to do is I want to challenge our club to all be active listeners. So at the end of each speech, we have a 1 minute pause for the evaluators to kind of gather their thoughts and write out their evaluation for the speaker. So my challenge to everybody else in the club is during that 1 minute pause, I would like you all to put any keywords that you hear that resonates with you, phrases that might resonate with you from the speaker, and kind of all share this role as of grammarian. And I totally think that we're capable of doing it. So when we get to that 1 minute mark, I will also restate this, but I do challenge you all to turn on your active listening skills and kind of listen for those key things in our speeches and help us all do the grammarian role today. All right, our first speaker today is Amy Kirkland. Amy introduced us at the beginning of the meeting because she's our sergeant of arms. She's also a product manager for Income Payments. She lives in Portland, Oregon with her husband and 2 dogs, Rufus and Ginger, who are super cute. And she enjoys spending time outdoors and traveling when she can. And sometimes she is also one of my friends, so I convince her to go kayaking with me or any other crazy ideas I have. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Amy to give our first speech. Her speech is titled Goodbye Little House, and her Pathways project is team collaboration. Take it away, Amy.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, and happy Memorial Day weekend to everyone. About 7 years ago, I bought my first house. I love my little house. It has a big yard with a nice deck and lots of trees in the back. The front is filled with magnificent rose bushes of all colors. 6 big rhododendrons, currently all in full bloom, line one side. A winter daphne with an intoxicating fragrance in the late winter sits near the front door. And there's a beautiful cherry blossom tree that shades the front of the house. The house is on the smaller side, but has beautiful hardwoods, 3 bedrooms, and 2 living spaces, one of which is extra large and has a vaulted ceiling. It was the perfect house for a first-time buyer. But the time has come for me to sell my little house. I am recently married and have moved in with my husband. We eventually want to sell both of our little houses and get something bigger. This will be the first time for me to sell a house. So where do I start? There are lots of things to consider, but today I want to focus on my top 2 concerns. How to select a real estate agent and what costs are associated with selling a house. So first, let's start with selecting an agent. According to Realtor.com article written by Rachel Stoltz, you should never buy or sell a home without an agent. She argues that realtors have loads of experience. They understand all the acronyms and jargon. They're experienced in dealing with all the paperwork, and there's a lot. I remember from when I bought my house. They're connected to everyone and know how to negotiate a killer deal while avoiding delays and costly mistakes. Okay, so how do I find an agent? In another Realtor.com article, Natalie Way recommends getting recommendations from friends and family. You can also look for real estate signs in your neighborhood or attend open houses to meet agents. You can also call real estate firms or use tools on things like realtor.com to locate agents in your community. Personally, I already know a few, I know of a few real estate agents, but how do I pick the right one to work with? In an article on bankrate.com, Beth Braverman suggests interviewing at least 3 real estate agents. There are loads of websites I found that have recommendations or recommended questions for interviewing realtors. Here are a few of my favorites from the same article by Natalie Way. What services do you offer? How would you price my home? How will you market my home? What is your fee? And what experience do you have in my immediate area? Okay, great. So I have a game plan for selecting an agent now. So next, what is this endeavor going to cost me? There are 2 types of costs that I'm primarily concerned about: closing costs and capital gains. According to Zillow, the average closing cost for a seller is roughly 8 to 10% of the sale of the house. Wow, that seems like a lot. Okay, so realtor commissions make up 6% of that, with the rest being taxes and fees. Of the 6% realtor commissions, half of that goes to the buyer's agent and half goes to the listing agent or my agent. Okay, so is there any way to reduce those costs? In a realtor.com article by Margaret Henry, she says that by law, commissions are negotiable, but she also cautions that you get what you pay for. So if a real estate agent easily agrees to lower their commission than they usually charge, how great is that agent going to be at negotiating a deal on your home? So something to think about. Okay, finally, what about capital gains? So according to a TurboTax article, if you owned a home and lived in the place for 2 of the 5 years before the sale, then up to $250,000 of the profits is tax-free. If you're married and filed jointly, then the tax-free amount doubles to $500,000. Of course, there's a lot more to the tax code, and it's important to contact your tax professional about your own situation. But that gave me enough to feel like I know what to expect with regard to capital gains for my situation. Now I have a better understanding of how to find an agent and what the costs are going to be. So I'm ready to move forward with those things, with getting an agent, I guess. So after I bought my house, my dad told me that he thought I made a mistake, that I was so determined to buy a house that I would have bought anything. He might have been half right. It was the 3rd house I put an offer on, but it was by far my favorite and the least expensive of the ones I put offers on. But my dad was wrong in a big way. He thought that the housing market was on the high side and that houses were more expensive than they should be. He couldn't have been more wrong. According to 2 of my favorite real estate related products, Zillow and Redfin, my little house is now worth almost double what I paid for. I'm sad that it's time to say goodbye to my little house, but I hope the next owner will come to love it as much as I did. Thank you.
Great job, Amy. I'm sad you're selling your little house. I know your little house, but also very excited for you. All right, so we are going to pause for 1 minute of remarks so the evaluators can write down any feedback, and also any person in this club is able to write down feedback on Amy's speech and email it to her. So we do have a list of emails, so if you want to do that, we can do that, or you can directly chat it to her as well if you'd like during the meeting. That is a-okay. We all know that great feedback helps us in many different ways. So let's do that. Timer, can I have a minute on the clock? Because I did not have a minute prepared on my side, if you don't mind. And since we are all participating in the Grammarian role today, I challenge you to put any keywords or phrases that you heard Amy say that we can maybe all learn from in the chat. All right, thanks everyone. So our second speaker today is our club president, Erica Tamburo. Erica is a creative in many aspects, as I'm sure most of you have seen in our club, whether it's tech, art, or other opportunities. And she is also the founder of this club with me and a few others. She enjoys working in STEM and is passionate about creating impactful products in close collaboration with those end users. She's worked for many years focused on medical research and has transitioned into ed tech, where she can inspire the next generation into STEM careers, which is really awesome. She is also an artist and speaker and finds fulfilling in helping others along their artistic and professional journeys. So let's welcome Erica Tamburo with her speech titled Empowering Every Woman's Voice at the Table. Her Pathways project is visionary communication. So take it away, Erica.
Thank you so much, Lori. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests, I'm excited to talk to you today about the Women in Product Toastmasters Club vision. Fair warning, this is another interactive session today. So take a few sips of your coffee, because I know it's early for some of you. Stretch, get that blood pumping. We're going to dive in and talk about what the club vision means to us as individuals, what it means to us as a club, and how we can work together to realize that vision. As a product that moves you, I hope that you're inspired today into some action. Our club is meant for inspiration. So, empowering every woman's voice at the table. What does the word empowerment mean to you? Oxford Languages defines it as the process of becoming stronger and more confident, especially in controlling one's life and claiming one's rights. So here's the interactive portion of the speech. I'm going to ask you all to take a moment and close your eyes and do some visualization. No peeking. Envision yourself in this state of empowerment. Where are you? Are you sitting? Are you standing? What are you wearing? Who is around you? What are you doing? And how are you showing up? Are you standing in a boardroom proposing your brilliant vision for a new product, your CEO? Are you so cool, calm, and collected that you just know you'll be funded? Maybe you're sitting in an office, confident with confidence, can't say that today, answering interview questions for your next big move, to a company that you've dreamed of working for that understands your value. Or maybe you're standing on a stage, you're giving a moving speech. The audience is so engaged and having so much fun that your job doesn't feel like a job at all. You're sharing your passion with the world, and the world loves it. Maybe you're starting your own tech company. Who knows? Okay, open your eyes. If you don't mind, I invite you all to share your vision of empowerment with the group. You can share it in the chat. You can share it to our Facebook page, whatever you're most comfortable with. And I ask you to do this for a couple of reasons. The first is that you'll have a vision to help you move forward. It's your touchstone, what you can accomplish through your Toastmasters work. It's a reminder for when the tough gets going, when you're stuck or frustrated, of where you're headed. And reflecting on what you've accomplished with what lies ahead gives you the opportunity to celebrate along the way. Celebration is super important. And sharing with the group helps us build community. We can support each other on our journeys. Make it big, make it audacious. Share with each other. Okay, now let's take another opportunity to visualize. Visualize what it means to be in a club that is fulfilling that vision. So what does it mean for us as a club moving forward? Do you imagine that those around you are reaching your goals and you're celebrating with them? Do you imagine a club in which everyone's working toward their goals while being in service to each other? Maybe you envision a club where we support and encourage everyone so much that they're not afraid to try something new. Do you envision a club that successfully moves members through their educational programs and we win accolades together? How cool would that be? I hope you found this exercise fun and invigorating. Your potential for your personal growth, as well as the potential to create a fun and successful club, is limitless. Now let's discuss how we can reach this vision together. I'll share 5 ways that I'm going to propose that we reach this vision together. Number 1 is define. We're all product managers. You love product. You know about setting definitions. Define your goals and select your pathway. The pathway will help you reach your goals, and there's no wrong pathway. Let us know if you'd like some advice. We'd be happy to give you some advice and help you pick the right path. So define. And number 2 is share. Share your aspirations with others. Start some virtual coffee sessions, meet each other, start some conversations. Share where you want to go with each other. A lot of us share the same goals. Number 3 is tackle. Tackle that educational pathway. Schedule your speeches, be proactive. Make a goal to always have one speech planned to keep you on track. Number 4 is participate. Attend club meetings, even if you haven't assigned for a role. There's table topics, you get to support others. We can adjust for any last minute changes because, life happens. And number 5 is celebrate. Share your wins with us. Share your wins with each other. We want to celebrate. Let us know when you have that podcast or a blog post, you land that new job, anything that's important to you, we want to celebrate with you. So remember, define, share, tackle, participate, and celebrate. These are only just a couple of the ways that you can be an active member and help the club grow and help yourself reach your goals. I invite you, do you have any ideas? Do you have a panel you want to host? Maybe you want to start a blog or be a contributor? The sky's the limit, and we're here to create those opportunities for you, or to give you the opportunity to create those opportunities. In closing, I'm going to share one of my favorite quotes. We are all just walking each other home. We are all just walking each other home, and I look forward to walking alongside you wherever your path is headed. Thank you so much for all your time. Madam Toastmaster, back to you.
Great job, Erica. What a wonderful speech. That got me all hyped up, just like the Women in Product Conference. Great job. All right, so we will, of course, pause for 1 minute so our evaluators can write down their thoughts and remarks. So timer, can I get another minute from you on the clock? And for everybody else, again, you can write down any feedback that you have for Erica and we can share it with her, whether it's through the chat on Zoom here, or you can email it to her as well afterwards. But since we're all playing again the grammarian role today, I want you to throw in your favorite words or phrases that you heard Erica say that kind of resonated with you. I definitely have a couple on my list. All right, our 1 minute is up. Lots of great things in the chat. I even learned a new word. I don't think I've ever heard anyone use the word touchstone before, which maybe most of you have, but I haven't. So I'm going to look that one up later. All right, so our speeches are done for the day. but we get to move into the table topic session, and it sounds like Svetlana has quite the questions met up for us today. So Svetlana, you want to take it away and quiz us all?
Absolutely. So I'm just going to repeat real quick what the session will look like. So the goal of the table topic session, again, is to challenge us to improve our impromptu speaking skills. This gives us the opportunity to formulate a structured answer to a question on the spot. A very useful skill for many of us to apply both at work and beyond. The way that this will work is I will ask a question, I will pause for a few seconds, and then pick someone to answer. The speaker will have 1 to 2 minutes to respond to the question. The timer will flip on the green screen at 1 minute, the yellow screen at 1.5 minutes, and then red at 2 minutes. To make this a little more fun, we will also ask participants to vote for the best table topic speech. The votes will be collected by me. I will be the vote counter. So please direct message me with the name of the member whose speech you liked the most. So pay attention to who's speaking. And a final note, again, any member who does not wish to be called upon, including guests, just let me know. For guests, however, sorry. All right, so let's dive in. So with that, in line with today's topic on products that move you, I will start with a literal interpretation. What is a product that inspires you to physical activity? And I will call on Shelley. Shelley, the question is, what is a product that inspires you to physical activity?
I'm guessing that you called on me because I wrote Peloton was the product that I tried during this pandemic. So, and literally inspired me to get moving. So I will tell you why Peloton was my go-to product during the pandemic. So a little bit about me. I currently work at American Express, and I'm a mom to 2 girls. Actually, when the pandemic first hit, I was on maternity leave with a 4-month-old. And at that time, also realized I started having to homeschool my 4.5, my then 4-year-old daughter. So I was really busy and I was actually moving, but moving from the couch to the bed where I was nursing, or moving from one table to the next to help my daughter with homeschooling assignments, and yes, chasing them around the house and stuff, which I live in a New York City apartment, so it's not that much actual movement. We weren't getting out of the house that much, and so I was feeling really just stagnant, and it was taking a toll on my mental and physical health, and I could definitely feel it. And so one of the things that I tried to do was I tried to just do these like YouTube videos. That really didn't go so well. And then Peloton had this great offering of, I think at that time, like a 2-month free trial. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. And yeah, I got the free membership, and I found myself for the first time ever actually doing exercise on a regular cadence. I went from doing like maybe once a week to 3 or 4 times a week. And it was just really inspiring. And to this day, I'm still going on that regular cadence of exercising at least a few times a week. And it really helped with both my mental and physical health. And I feel stronger and better. So that is the product that has inspired me to actually move.
That's fantastic. And I completely missed that you were the one who wrote Peloton, though I did see them pop up. So excellent. Awesome. It's like it was scripted. Great. So my next question, have you ever found yourself in a slump and asked Alexa to inspire you, or grabbed your favorite adult coloring book to color in Benedict Cumberbatch's shaggy hair? Maybe it's just me. Or maybe it's products designed to alter our emotional state. So the question is, what is a product that provides you with some emotional stimulation, and what makes it effective at doing so? And I'm going to call on Monica. And that question again is, what is a product that provides you with some emotional stimulation, and what makes it effective at doing so?
Thanks for calling on me. So I'm going to say maybe one that people aren't immediately going to think of when they think of emotional connection. So the app that I like to use is Spotify. Spotify has a great curation. So when I feel a certain emotion, depending on whether it's happy or sad, I'm able to go into the categories and look in the mood section and find a playlist that corresponds directly to how I'm feeling. So when I'm down in the dumps, there's a Spotify playlist that says moody, and it has a cover art that has a person who's got gray skies around them, which corresponds exactly to how I feel. But if I'm looking for a playlist that will get me pumping in the morning so that I am motivated to do that morning run or give that presentation that I have to do, there's one that's also rise up sunshine, here's the day, and the colors are really corresponded, as well as the art, to the type of music you're going to get. So for me, I have a very emotional connection to certain songs. Certain songs I have related to certain events in my life, such as that first time with my boyfriend when we went on our first date, or maybe that song that I heard when I was with my mom and we were really sad about something that happened in our family. So those are things that I look for to augment my feelings. And that's really what gives me an emotional boost. Sometimes it's to change those emotions. Sometimes it's to reinforce those emotions. So for this prompt, I would say Spotify is my app. Thanks.
Awesome. That's so cool. I relate in many, many ways. Cool. So following the emotional trajectory of a user of a product is indeed at the core of building many products, digital and beyond. And one method of studying it is developing a user journey map. If you are familiar with this tool, tell us what you have used it for and how it helped you in your work. If you've never heard of it, it's a way to map steps a user takes across their use of a product, frequently depicting how they feel. So you land on a homepage, you feel happy. You search for something, get an error, you feel sad. So hypothetically, how would this help you if you've never done one before? And I'm going to call on Anwesha. And that question again is, if you are familiar with the tool, tell us what you have used it for and how it helped you in your work. And then if not, hypothetically, how do you think it could help you? Anwesha.
Absolutely. So I had conceptually learned about user empathy mapping or user journey mapping in my previous role, where it was kind of like theoretical for me because for the most part, we had no control over what we were doing. All the decisions were basically made by our VPs. So practically, the first time that I got to use it is actually in my new job. And what my director of product basically did is said, go and try and map it out for yourself for the product, because it gives you awareness about what the user is actually feeling when they're looking at it. So we were building kind of like a tool to measure productivity for agents, and the agents were not the only users. There were many different persona. And so part of what we had to do is kind of understand their frustrations, especially since the tool was for work from home situation in COVID. And we had to make sure the managers knew exactly what the agents were doing. The agents did not feel like they were being tracked or, big brothered kind of a thing. And so what really helped me is it gave me a new perception of what the tool was all about. And at the end of it, I was able to find certain modifications that I'm happy to say are now part of the roadmap that we are trying to build out. So that's where I got to try it out for the first time. And I really recommend it because it helped me measure not just, what KPIs it's impacting, but more importantly, what emotion, frustration, anger, happiness, or, concern about the agent. So it really, really helped for me to actually track it. So thank you for letting me share this with you guys.
Fantastic. How fun. I love when you can actually use one of these tools that you learned about conceptually and then have it apply directly to your work and see some direct result from it. So my next question, tell us about a favorite product you recently discovered and what do you love about it? And I'm going to ask Sanella.
Thank you. So growing up, I was not an athletic person, but using the app Strava, I'm happy to say I've really been able to change my journey around. So when I went to college, I went to a small liberal arts college and I was considered a NARP, a non-athletic regular person. After I graduated college, I was really committed to trying to improve my physical health. I got a recommendation to try using Strava, which if you like to track your goals and you like to earn trophies and badges, I would highly suggest it as a motivating thing. I was able to use that app to train for my first marathon. And in the process, not only did I get my longest run on Strava, I was also able to earn a bunch of different trophies throughout the months. So much so that I would sometimes run in the rain just to earn a trophy for that week. But with highs come the lows. So as a result of overtraining, I actually had to experience a stress fracture. And now as I'm working through my recovery, I'm really excited to know that Strava can kind of help me in this part of my journey too, as I try to train a little bit more consciously and deliberately. So anyone who has it, please join Strava and add me as a friend. It's a super fun app that I've enjoyed using. Thank you.
So Nella, done and done. Strava is my absolute favorite app. I've been using it many years for both running and cycling, and I will absolutely follow you.
Awesome.
Awesome. Great. So moving on. Tell us about a product that frustrates you, but you use anyway. Why do you use it anyway? I'm going to ask Rajashi. And that question again is, tell us about a product that frustrates you, but you use anyway. And why do you use it anyway?
Oh, you just caught me in the with the right question. And yeah, I am in a new job. I have joined this company, Signet, starting like in January. And Signet is a very big organization, and they are very mature in a lot of aspects. But their digital product organization is coming ground up, very new. So what they did is like, they brought in a bunch of like product managers, XD partners, CX partners, and trying to build all these teams ground up from the core. And like there are all these different roles. So with that comes also the challenge of going agile, introducing the agile concepts, road mapping, everything that is a part of building a good product. So for road mapping and our requirement tracking, they introduced Miro, which is a tool. And I started using it for the first time at Signet, and I hate it because it seems like you are all over the place in Miro. It's a very cumbersome tool to use, kind of. I know there are people who love it. They just like, completely can swear by like, okay, I love this and I'm awesome doing this. But I'm not getting the feel of that. And it's just like when you are editing, you might be messing up with someone else's stuff and things like that. So I am really pushing hard to change this tool. And I think it has kind of got to the point that, okay, operations and our program managers, we do have agile coach and all these other members who are also seeing the conflict. So they are going towards other road mapping tools and they are looking at it. So I feel like when that change come, I'll be a happy person. But right now, we have to continue using Miro because we do need to have roadmaps. We do need to do the collaboration with other teams. But yeah, I don't like that. I don't like the product.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, right? If we think about some of these products that frustrate us and we use anyway, and why, right? Sometimes it's in a work setting where you're forced into it, but then maybe that has implications for products in the future. Or maybe it's something that, is sticky for you in some other way and you end up relying on. So thank you so much for the thought-provoking answer. So one more question. An activity we as PMs should make a habit to practice to practice our product instincts is something called product teardown. Some of you may have heard of this. So this is an activity where you pick a product and identify qualities like, what are the goals of the product? What does it do well? Maybe what does it not do well? So let's practice. I'm going to ask you to pick a product and tell us what you think its goals are and what you think it does really well. And I'm going to ask Marguerite. And that question again, you should pick a product and tell us what you think its goals are and what you think it does really well. Marguerite, go ahead.
Sure. So I'll pick the app for my bank because it's something I have to use all the time, and I definitely think about what it does well and doesn't do well all the time. So its goals are for someone who is banking with that bank to be able to keep track of their spending and pay their bills anytime, anywhere that's convenient for them. And I think it's also trying to accommodate some users who might not be as tech savvy, but over the past recently, I know that bank actual physical bank locations have been closing down. So because more banking is going online, so they're trying to make it more usable for more types of people, for the younger generations and the less tech savvy generations, I guess you could say. So that's one of the great things about my bank's app. I'm not going to say exactly what it is. One of the more annoying things is, as a tech savvy or more tech savvy person, I'm looking for more features like being able to track my budgets, and it never works. The feature exists, but it doesn't work. And so I'm planning on sending them a bit of feedback. So.
Awesome, thank you. So that exercise, by the way, helps us, again, practice our product instincts. And I encourage everyone to try to do that sometimes, just either in your own mind or with a PM pal. So with that concludes this session. And just a reminder that you are all invited to vote for your favorite response. I'm going to go ahead and post each person's name and the order in which they spoke, and then you should DM me with your pick for the winner, and we'll announce that person a little bit later. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to our Toastmaster, Lori.
Thank you, Svetlana. So today, we are going to move into our general evaluation section. So I am going to turn it over to Jennifer so she can give our evaluation and call on each evaluator for each speaker. So Jen, do you want to take it away?
Yeah, so I'm going to call on myself first as an evaluator. So I'm going to go ahead and provide some evaluation on Amy Kirkland first, who was our first speaker. So Amy, let me see if I can find you on Zoom. Oh, I see you. I just loved your speech, Goodbye Little House. And that title was so interesting. When I saw that title, I was curious as to how is this going to tie into product and what are you going to be able to speak about? I felt very much connected to the topic in the sense that I myself remember having to sell my first little house, and all of those beautiful words. You really painted a picture of a little bit of sadness of leaving something that you knew, something that you had purchased on your own, but also giving a nod to, the changes in life that you're experiencing with your new marriage and trying to find something that's bigger. And that personally resonated with me as well. So congratulations on that speech. You also did quite a bit of research, clearly, with something as big as a house purchase and sort of trading up, if you will. It was insightful and interesting in terms of education for those of us who may not have purchased another house going forward. So that was very evident that you did a lot of research and you pulled in a lot of information that I don't know if everybody on this call has been exposed to previously. couple of things that you might want to consider working on. One is you may want to think about how do you have additional vocal variety? How do you change up the cadence in which you're speaking? Take a deep breath. I could tell you were a little bit nervous and you were reading quite a bit, but just take that deep breath, get a little more emotive, get a little more vocal variation, and that'll make your topic a little more interesting to our audience as well. Again, I thought it was really great, had a lot of really good pertinent information, and you did a great job in bringing out that emotion and connection to people that may not have had a experience of trading up into a new house. So thank you. Good job. And then with that, I'm going to pass it on to our second evaluator, Rosie.
Hi, everyone. Let me see if I can find Erica. All right. Yes, so you did an excellent job at just bringing us home into those visualizations. I really enjoyed the activity. I don't think we've had anyone do those types of activities, so I really enjoyed how you connected the activities with also the way that we're moving forward in this club, right? We're starting to focus more on pathways, and so kind of figuring out what our next action items could be and tying those over to the club. One of the things I really loved about your speech was the ability to have different types of tones in your speech. I could tell that when you were trying to make an emphasis on something, you would raise your volume and focus a little bit more on those keywords, right? I think that combined with the way that you ran the activity and you really outlined your speech made your speech really strong and interesting. I felt really engaged through the entire speech. So excellent job on that. One of the areas that I think you might improve upon a little bit more is eye contact. I know it's incredibly difficult to do it via Zoom, but I did notice that in the beginning you were reading off of a page or you were referencing something, which isn't bad at all. I think even when you do public speaking in front of large crowds in person, sometimes you do find it useful to reference a document. But I would just challenge you to maybe rely less on the document and also make more eye contact. It is a little bit awkward, especially on Zoom, when you're talking to a little dot, but I think it would really help bring your speech to another level. Perfect. And I filled out your form, so I'll send it over.
All right, thank you for that evaluation, Rosie. I appreciate it. And then next, I'm going to go ahead and call on, so we have no grammarian, so hopefully you guys are either direct messaging or finding those words that each of the speakers provided, whether it be table topics or prepared speeches that you've provided that information to those respective speakers. And then I'll call on, I'm going to pronounce your name wrong. I'm so sorry in advance. Is it Anwesha?
You got it absolutely.
Okay. Can you please provide us with our all counter report?
Absolutely. I've tried to keep note of everything. And in general, it's just my speech I could not keep track of. But in my head, I was very conscious of my Rs. So to start with, Erica, for the general introductions in Toastmaster, part of it had 5 Rs, 21 ums, 1 and 1 repeat. Whereas for her actual speech, she had 2 ums and 5 repeats. Svetlana had 8 Rs, 1 3 so's and 1 repeat. Amy had 1 2 3 so's, 10 repeats, and 3 OKs. Shelley in her introduction had 6 ums, but for the actual table topic had 6 Rs, 2 ums, 3 repeats, and 1 UNO. Sanella had 4 Rs and 1 repeat. Sheena had 1 Monica, for her introduction, had 2 Rs, 5 ums, 1 so, and for the table topic had 2 Rs, 3 ums, and 4 so's. Marguerite had in her introduction 3 Rs and 1 repeat, and for the actual table topic, 13 Rs and 2 repeats. Ashley had 2 ums and 1 like. Gwen had 2 ers and 3 ums. Rajeshi had 8 ers, 2 so's, 3 buts, 2 you knows, and 1 okay. Laurie had 1 15 ums, 3 so's, 3 likes, and 1 but, 2 you knows, 1 kind of. Jennifer had 3 ers, 4 ums, and 1 Carlene had 1 1 and last but not the least, Rosie had 5 ers, 1 and 2 repeats. Thank you.
Wow, that was an amazing readout. And that's the kind of thing that I think all of us appreciate, because that is one of those things that as we're speaking, we don't always have that conscientious mindset of all of those filler words that we fill in with ums, ers, ahs, so's, and whatevers. I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Anwesha. I'd like to next call on our timer, Carlene. Did I get your name right this time? Because I'm hoping.
You did. Thank you.
All right.
Yes, so I will be reporting out the times for the prepared speeches, evaluations, and table topics. So for our speeches, Amy, her time was, and for the regular speeches, it's 5 to 7 minutes, in the range of 5 to 7 minutes. And so Amy came in at 6:20, so that is within time. And Erica came in at 6:45, which was within time. And then when we go over to table topics should be no more than 2 minutes. First up, we have Shelley, who came in at 1:58, which is within time. Monica, 1:48, which is within time. And Waisha at 1:39, which is in time. Sanella, 1:29, which is within time. Rajesh, 2:13, which is a little bit over time. And Marguerite coming in at 1:30, which is within time. And as we move to our evaluations, which should be between 2 and 3 minutes, we have Jennifer, who came in at 2:17, so it's within time. And then we have Rosie, who came in at 1:40, which is within time. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Carlene. That is such an important function, because as we get better and better at speaking, you see the timer, you get a better sense of time, and you know when to wrap it up. So thank you for taking on that role today. And then lastly, I'd like to provide, as the general evaluator, a report on the overall meeting. So first and foremost, I appreciate that people showed up on time. We did start on time. I've heard from other clubs that that's been a challenge. I appreciate that this group of ladies is so timely, as our time reporter also reported out. I wanted to also specifically call out Lori, who was our table topics master, the Toastmaster of the day today. And that was, I don't know if you realize, for many of the folks on this call who are guests or others or new members, she really picked up that role at the very last minute. We had a little bit of a switcheroo, and I really appreciate that. You never would have guessed that she picked up this role at the last minute, and she was such a natural at it. She had such a great way of just naturally and moving along the meeting. And I think that's a testament to Lori, having been a part of this club for quite some time and a leader in this club, that it's clear to me that she has gained a lot more confidence in her speaking abilities and being able to facilitate. So she did a fantastic and awesome job as well. I also want to call on Lori too. One of the things that we had a challenge with is finding someone to help fill the role of the grammarian, and she came up with an inventive and creative way to fill that role and bring in some audience participation as well. So I want to thank everyone in this call for leaning in and helping to provide some of that feedback to individual speakers in a little bit of an unconventional way. So I want to say thank you for folks on that as well. And then also for our Sergeant at Arms, thanks for opening up our meeting on time and providing some of the behind the scenes camera manipulation. I think that happens. Zoom is like its own special talent, and trying to be able to spotlight people and the timers and things of that nature. I think the one feedback there is making sure that the timer and the person that is speaking has visibility of those two joined side-by-side people. So then the timer and the speaker can kind of see each other and get a sense of the timing itself. I also want to say, I mentioned also with the all counter and the timer, those are really important roles. And I think both of you did a fantastic job, and it will only help us get better as a group and as a club. So thank you again for those reports as well. All right, and with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to our Toastmaster of the day, Lori Edwards.
Great, thank you, Jennifer. That was a great report back. It's always fun to learn how we've come so far in just the few short months that we've been a club, but it's been fun. All right, so next up, as I look at our agenda, I think I'm turning it back over to Svetlana to tell us who the winner of the table topics is. So Svetlana, take it away.
Thanks. So I don't know, I'm trying to remember if we've had this happen before, but today feels very fitting that we have a tie because there were multiple speeches that were really, really excellent. And I really enjoyed all of your responses, and thank you so much for your participation. So today's two winners are Shelley and Monica. You both got the most votes. So congratulations.
Great, thank you, Svetlana. And coming up next, we are going to do our pathways presentation, but we just had a little more impromptu to today's meeting. So it's a holiday weekend. Clearly life happens, especially on a holiday weekend. So instead of our special guest joining us, we are going to have our president, Erica, should talk about pathways and how we can leverage pathways and also show you all what pathways are. So Erica, thank you for jumping in literally in the middle of this meeting and picking this thing up. So let's hear about pathways.
All right, let's talk about pathways. And I'm glad that you're no longer counting my ahs and ums because I might have a lot more. Okay, I am going to share my screen so we can look at the pathways. Okay, so for those of you who are new to Toastmasters, Toastmasters helps you achieve your goals through an educational program, and the educational program is called Pathways. For some of you who have been in Toastmaster or who have been previous Toastmasters or are aware, there was an older program, but since we've started our new club, Pathways is the one that we've been using. So Pathways, we'll go to Path Selection. Maybe I'm clicking, it's not doing anything. I'm gonna stop sharing for a second. Oh, okay, sorry. Okay, so there's two ways that you can go about selecting your pathway. Number one is you can take this, you can take a little quiz. What it does is it brings up some of the goals of some of the pathways and helps narrow down a pathway for you. Let's see. So we're gonna say digital. It's like digital. I don't want to compare. Okay, so here it is. Sorry. Here's where you can view all your path options, or you can take an online assessment. And for today, we're just going to view path options. Okay, so there are 12, I believe, different paths that you can select. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, sorry. All depending upon what you want to tackle. So if you're about humor and want to go the humorous route, there's a pathway for that. If you're interested in your leadership development or planning, there's all kinds of things to look at and consider. These are grayed out for me because I chose visionary communication and dynamic leadership. I actually couldn't decide when we started the club what kind of things I wanted to prioritize. I had signed up for dynamic leadership, and then like a week or two later, I was like, no, I should have done visionary communication. So you are able to switch. You're able to have multiple, and you can kind of, it's a little bit flexible. You can't get too far into the pathway and change your mind, but at the beginning you can. So I am going to share, let's see, more about. I'm just gonna jump into my pathway and show you what a pathway looks like. Okay, so we're back to that pathways page. So if you go to Basecamp, then you'll be able to open your pathway and see what's in your pathway. So like I mentioned, I have 2 paths listed, but visionary communication is the one I want to work on. So I'll open up visionary communication. So each pathway has 5 levels. They all start with level 1 is the icebreaker. That'll be the first speech that you're invited to give to the club. It's, you know, it makes sense you're introducing yourself to the club. So that's what the icebreaker speech is used for. You'll learn just the general outline of a speech. Yeah, it's a fun, icebreaker is fun. You can be super creative. You can be creative in all your speeches, but that's the icebreaker. Then we start to get into things like evaluation and feedback, researching and presenting. And all of these, you can choose the topic that you want to research. It's really flexible for whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. So I'm gonna, let's see, open, let's do research and presenting. So if you do a launch, then it'll start to walk you through the path or the criteria that. Sorry, it's taking a bit to load. Okay, I'm gonna hide that. So your assignment always comes with a checklist, and this is everything that you'll need to accomplish in order to get credit for this project. So researching and presenting, you need to research a topic, complete the research worksheet, outline your speech, and give a 5 to 7 minute speech. Each one has a different criteria that you need to go through, and it really does a good job of just you know, how to tackle your speech. I'm going to close that. And this moves you through your assignments. You can use the arrows on the left and right, or you can use this little tab down here, you know, depending on what you want to work on that day. For your evaluation, oh wait, this evaluates, you evaluate your pre and post evaluation. So you can talk about, let's see, it asks you questions like, you know, what's your confidence going into the project? What's your confidence coming out of the project? So it's kind of a neat little way to see your, see how your skills have improved. Let's see, and I believe each one has an evaluation resource. So how you go about pathways is you have a speech that you need to schedule. You reach out to the VP of Education, who's Elena, tell her that you want to schedule your speech, what the title of your speech is, what pathway you're working on, and she gets you on the schedule. And before you present, your job is to send your evaluation form to the person who is evaluating you. This evaluation form lists all the criteria that they need to evaluate you for the project. And you're also welcome to send them something special you're working on. So, you know, I used to twist a lot and have a lot of movements. So I might ask somebody, my evaluator, hey, can you please specifically watch my movements? Am I dancing while I'm speaking still, or is that getting better? So you can add that to your evaluation too. But this evaluation is really important, you know, so that you're receiving and getting better as you practice. So you work through each of your levels. You can jump around a little bit if you have to. I was doing vision speeches, as you could see today. Today was my second time giving a vision speech. It greatly improved from the first time. So I'll go in here, say that I completed it, do my evaluation of myself, let Elena know that I completed it. And there's also elective projects towards the end of every educational pathway. I almost said vocational, where you can select what it is you want to do. So you can moderate a panel, or be a leader, use some other kind of activity. So when you choose your pathway, take a look through everything and what's required, and kind of plan out a little bit ahead of time how you want to tackle stuff. I mentioned, the club gets accolades. I mentioned that during my vision speech, and what really it is that as people move through each level, we celebrate as a club, and also the district celebrates as well. They want to see all members are making progress, right? You're giving speeches, moving through your levels. So there's a goal for all clubs to meet so many levels each year. So I encourage you guys, get on the schedule, meet some goals, finish up some levels as you can. It helps us get some positive feedback and makes us look good with the district as well. I'm going to stop sharing and ask anybody what questions we can answer as far as pathways goes. I've never given a training, so I hope it was helpful and people understand a little bit more about pathways.
I have a question.
Sure.
Well, two actually. One, the visionary communication, it looked like you weren't able to select it. So I wasn't sure if that was like, if it gets to a point where something is like full, or if there's just something else. And then my second question is, are you able to do 2 pathways at a time? Although it sounds like that would be a lot of work, but just theoretically speaking, would you be able to do like more than one?
So the reason I couldn't select visionary communication is I already had it, as I'm already registered for that. That's why it was grayed out. As far as path, you can do as many as you want. One will come free with your membership, and then the additional ones you have to purchase. I wouldn't do 2. So I'm really good at wanting to do everything. And spreading myself out too much. And I laughed because, I had signed up for 2 and I was like, oh, I can't do 2. But for me, it's also hard to figure out what I want to focus. So I would suggest focusing on 1. There's a lot of overlap between some of them as well. So host a panel might be extra, an elective in one. It's also an elective in other ones. So there's a lot of content that is also reinforced multiple times. So there's not something in one that you might not get in the other. Yeah, so I hope that's helpful.
Yeah, actually, and just 2 other follow-up questions. So something like host a panel, do you all help with that, or do I have to find a place to kind of find the panel and like the topic and everything? And then how much would you say is the additional time commitment for pathways on a weekly or monthly basis?
Very good questions. So we just hosted a panel with the Women in Product at the Women in Product conference. And that was something that we had created. You can, I mean, you could host a panel with the club, a special panel. There's always opportunity to do that. Or participate, in one of our, maybe next year in the Women in Product Conference, participate on that panel. There's a lot of flexibility as to how you can go about your extra. I keep wanting to say extra credit. It's not extra credit, elective.
Erica, I have a question. I apologize first for coming in late. It was not on my calendar, so I apologize. But I did catch the last part of your presentation. Thank you. The question I have is how I just signed up for the club this past week and paid my dues. When should I see any type of communication from the actual headquarters with like a member ID so I can actually access Pathways?
Sure. Your payment will need to be processed, and once your payment is processed, then you'll get access. So, I would give Liz like a week or two, and you should be hearing shortly. I believe you'll get an email from them as soon as your payment is processed. Is that right, Svetlana? I think so. Yeah. Did I answer everything you asked? I think that was.
Yes, thank you.
I have a quick question. I'm also have joined as a new member, and thanks for clarifying about the payment timeline and when things get active. So will the email also come with like, this is my first time doing a Toastmasters. So with, like the evaluation, I logged into the Pathways and I see that there will be an evaluation and stuff to kind of determine which pathway is right for me. So all those direct instructions will come with that email too.
I'm trying to remember what emails we got when we signed up.
I think she's just gonna get like the email with the link, and you'll get into Pathways, and then you'll have all those resources
All those available
within that, within Basecamp.
Okay, awesome.
All right, so I am the Toastmaster, so I'm going to call time because I want to be conscious we're on a holiday weekend. So Erica, sorry to cut you off, but if anyone has questions, we can definitely stay on afterwards for a little bit and answer your questions, or you can email them to us and we will be happy to definitely answer them. But I want to be conscious that we are on a holiday weekend. So all great questions. Pathways is fun and I've learned a lot so far. So with being the Toastmaster, I think next is club business. So Erica, since you just did the thing, if you have any club business, you want to give that to us really quickly, and then I will also play Olina's role and post the roles for next meeting in the chat while Erica is talking.
Thank you, Lori. You guys are sick of hearing me talk today. I just do want to reiterate, thank you so much for joining us on a holiday weekend. Really do appreciate it. Hope you guys enjoyed the meeting. I'm going to invite guests. How are we doing on time? Are we good on time? Where are we at on time? We're a little bit.
You got 1 minute.
I got 1 minute. Oh my goodness. So usually we invite people to give us some feedback of our guests. I'm going to invite you to stay after the meeting so that people that have holiday plans can go make those plans on time. So really quickly, the monthly theme for the club was build your board. So we started earlier this month, we started the month out discussing building relationships. And last meeting, my call to action to you was to take note of some fellow club members, what they excelled at, what you want to learn from them. Today, I'm going to follow up from the vision speech, and my call to action to you is to schedule some networking time with each other. Reach out, meet each other, and start some discussions. The big club business coming up is elections. If you are interested in observing a leadership meeting, please join us on June 8th. Let me know, let us know, and we'll invite you to the meeting. June 13th is our election day, so please plan to be in attendance. We require quorum to vote new members. If you are interested in a leadership role, please let me know. We'd love to have you. No matter what your experience is, if you want to learn and you want to make a difference and you want to lead, please reach out and let us know. We are, there are 2 positions, treasurer and sergeant of arms, that are open and we need a volunteer for. So if you're interested, just speak up, do it now, join us. Let's see. Congratulations to everybody for their successful speeches and deliveries and everything at the Women in Product Conference. Liz was our first winner of our, the Women in Product group sets aside 1 speaker session for our club each year. And Liz was the first to win that and participate in the conference this year. It's a great boon for joining the club and practicing and making some great speeches. And thanks to Lori, who was our first ambassador, who helped organize the conference and make some great content, who was also invited to host the 2 panel sessions, not 1, but 2. You did an excellent job. So good job, Lori. And special thanks to Svetlana for running our networking session and for everybody who attended. It was super fun. And a lot of you are visiting us today because of that. So thank you. Right, if you would like to stay a little bit longer and ask some questions, I'll be around for a little bit. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for a great meeting, everybody. As always, I had a lot of fun and learned a lot from all of you. I'm going to hand it back to Lori, who will talk a little bit about the next meeting.
Yeah, so I did post in the chat all the next meeting roles for June. So you can see that we do have one that's open to a new member. So if anyone wants to volunteer, feel free to reach out to Olina, or you can fill out the form and say on there that you want to volunteer for a role. The easiest way to be prepared is to just pick which role you want to do and when you want to do it. So I highly recommend filling out the form. It really helps us out on the leadership team. And with that, we'll pass it back to our Sergeant of Arms, Amy, to wrap us up real quick.
Thanks, Lori, and thanks everyone for being here on this Memorial Day weekend. And have a great weekend, everyone. I'm going to stop the recording now.